Aha, this isn't your usual motivational vibe. Nah, this is raw, unfiltered chaos waiting to stare into your soul. Yeah, you will need a lot of inner strength to even handle this. So pause and ask yourself, are you ready? Or are you gonna chicken out? Wow, let me warn you. This isn't light content. It hits hard. It shakes your mind. It burns every lie. You've told yourself about being strong. And yeah, you might feel shaken, rattled, maybe even angry. But that's the point. That's where growth begins, right where comfort ends. Before we dive in, let me give you some respect. You're here, scrolling, stopping, choosing to face the truth instead of hiding. That takes courage, serious courage. So I see you, I respect you. And this journey, this isn't just my words. It's your reflection in the chaos, the test of your strength, the moment that separates the real ones from the rest. Now listen, keep your focus locked, because if you skip, if you scroll away, you'll miss the fire, the truth, the raw stuff that'll ignite something inside, something you didn't even know was there. And yeah, leave your mark, drop a comment, tell me what shook you, what hit you the hardest, because your voice matters, your experience counts, and we're building this energy together. So, here's the deal. Don't watch this if you're not ready. Seriously. Don't wait until your mind is sharp, your heart is steady, because once you start, there's no going back, only forward, only growth, only strength beyond what you've ever imagined. And if you survive this, if you stay till the end, oh wow, you'll see yourself differently forever. So buckle up, brace yourself, and let's dive into the chaos, the truth, the fire, because this is your moment. And yes, this tribute, it's for you. The one who dares, the one who fights, the one who refuses to stay small. The world doesn't wait. It doesn't bow. And it certainly doesn't care if you're ready. Look at yourself. Really look. Not at the polite smile you offer strangers. Not at the mask you shove over your own eyes to sleep at night. Oh, wow. I mean, really stare. See the hesitation curling in your chest like a small, bitter snake. Feel the doubt that whispers every morning before your feet even touch the floor. Yeah, it's there, waiting, watching, laughing quietly at your fear of being seen. And you flinch. Nah, don't lie to yourself, admit it. You flinch because the mirror doesn't lie. Every reflection is a challenge. Every glance a reminder. You've endured comfort far too long. You've hidden behind routines, behind excuses, behind tiny compromises that seem harmless until they start devouring your resolve. It is slow, insidious, and it is cruel. But the mirror demands honesty. It says, stop pretending, stop being small, and suddenly, your blood runs hotter. Not with anger at the world, but with anger at yourself. Because every time you avoid that raw truth, every time you convince yourself, just for today, you are safe, you feel it. That sting, that gnawing sense that you are not enough. And yes, it terrifies you. The world outside. It isn't patient. It doesn't pause for trembling hearts or cautious souls. It doesn't wait while you gather courage. It attacks. It distracts. It mocks. Every voice screaming for attention is a test. Every obstacle designed to remind you that the price of hesitation is your own undoing. And yet, here you are, trembling but standing, fighting against the urge to retreat, to disappear into the safety of illusion. Oh, the irony, isn't it? The one thing you crave, comfort, is exactly what would chain you. But deep down, you know there is a spark, one spark, hidden, waiting, and the moment it ignites, it is unstoppable. Not because the world bends for you, but because you have chosen to bend nothing, not even yourself. You have felt the weight of weakness, the emptiness of fear, the suffocating quiet of indecision, and you've survived it, you've endured it, and you are not finished. Every hesitation, every doubt, every whispered lie you tell yourself, it has led to this moment, where the reflection stares back and asks, quietly, insistently, do you have the courage to face the truth? The hardest part is not looking away, it's staying. Oh yeah, there it is again. That weight pressing down on your chest, the silent, suffocating reminder that everything you've ignored, avoided, and disguised is now screaming for attention. Every fear, every hesitation, every excuse you once hid behind, oh, it all converges here. And it hurts. It hurts more than you imagined. Nah, don't soften it. Feel it. Let it crush the layers of denial you've wrapped around yourself. Let it remind you that strength is not born in comfort, it is forged in the unbearable. Watching yourself is no gentle exercise. It is a confrontation with the rawest version of you, the part you fear most, that part that whispers you are not enough, you will fail. And every time you acknowledge that whisper, it multiplies, twisting into a tempest of doubt. But here's the paradox. In that tempest lies your opportunity, because the storm does not exist to break you. It exists to awaken you. Every moment of trembling, every flicker of resistance, it is a test. And the test is not of your body, but of your resolve. The world outside, oh, don't be fooled. It will not pause for you to catch your breath. It will throw chaos in waves, distractions in torrents, illusions in masks so vivid you almost believe them. It is clever, persistent, and relentless. But the real trial is inside, isn't it? The battle that matters is the one fought in silence, in shadows, in the chambers of your own mind, where honesty is a weapon and self-deception is death. Every second you waver, every thought of retreat, it strengthens the chains that have held you captive for too long. And yet, wow, here you are, standing, shaking, perhaps, but standing. The weight does not break you, it sharpens you. It calls forth something ancient, primal, stubbornly defiant. You feel it, do you? That ember, that faint glow buried under layers of hesitation. And as it grows, you realize the burden was never punishment. It was preparation for courage, for clarity, for the fierce, unshakable strength that only emerges when you endure what others would flee. So do you still flinch? Or do you step closer, letting the weight shape you, mold you, awaken the fire you always feared? Every heartbeat, every shiver, every moment of quiet confrontation is training you for what comes next, the fury that cannot be ignored. Fury is not chaos. Fury is clarity, sharpened by suffering. Oh, feel it pulse in your veins. The anger you've been too polite to acknowledge, the fire that simmers beneath every act of hesitation, every whispered doubt. It is not destruction. It is awareness. It is the brutal lens that exposes weakness, highlights cowardice, and demands accountability from no one but you. Yeah, it's loud, it's raw, it is merciless, and you have tried to ignore it for too long. But now the ember is raging, and there is no more hiding. The fury inside is not meant to lash outward indiscriminately. Nah, it is not a weapon for the world, but a mirror for the self. Each surge, each heartbeat screaming with intensity, is a call to recognize your own limits, your own lies, your own moments of surrender. Oh, wow. When you truly see it, you realize it's terrifying, because the fire asks questions you are not ready to answer. And yet, it doesn't stop. It waits for honesty. It waits for courage. It waits for action. You may think the world around you is the enemy. People, circumstances, obstacles. No, they are distractions, tests, mirrors of your own indecision. The real battle, the one that matters, is internal. Every hesitation, every compromise you've tolerated, every moment you let fear dictate the terms. It has been feeding this fury, nurturing it, sharpening it into a force that cannot be ignored. And now, finally, it is awake. Fury without control is chaos. But fury harnessed? Oh, it is a weapon. Unlike any other, it cuts through lies, it slices through doubt, it dismantles weakness. It is your judgment, your discipline, your relentless push against the inertia that has held you hostage for far too long, and you will wield it, not to harm others, but to reclaim yourself, to reclaim every lost second, every wasted effort, every compromise that dimmed your spirit, every challenge you have endured, every pain you have absorbed, every moment you resisted the easy path. It leads to this moment. The fury is no longer merely emotion. It is strategy. It is insight. It is a declaration. You will no longer cower. You will no longer wait. You will no longer tolerate the quiet submission of your own potential. And in this fire, you become untouchable. To transcend is to walk alone, where no eyes can guide you, no hands can hold you. Oh, the solitude is deafening. The path stretches before you, empty, unyielding, and every step echoes like a warning. It is not meant for the faint of heart. Yeah, you feel the pull to turn back, to slip into the comfort of ordinary, to let someone else's expectations mask your own fear. But nah, you know the truth. The world does not reward hesitation. It does not nurture indecision. It waits only for those who dare to step into the void and own it. Every step along this path demands honesty, merciless, unflinching honesty. You cannot lie to yourself. You cannot bargain with fear. Every moment of evasion, every whisper of weakness threatens to drag you into mediocrity. Oh, wow. And it is tempting, isn't it? To retreat, to let someone else carry the burden, to hide behind distractions, to convince yourself that survival is enough. But survival is not transcendence. Transcendence is the solitary mastery of your own mind, your own resolve, your own spirit. The weight of the unseen path presses against you with every heartbeat. Every decision becomes a test. Every obstacle is a reflection of your inner chaos. And yet, there is clarity in the struggle. There is power in the discipline. There is freedom in refusing to surrender to the comfort of the world's illusions. Oh, it strikes like lightning when you realize that the loneliness you feared is the very crucible that will forge your strength, that the very resistance that shakes your bones is the same force that will sculpt your spirit into something unshakable. No eyes, no hands, no applause, just the rhythm of your own breath, the pulse of determination, the whisper of untapped courage. And every step forward, no matter how exhausting, no matter how uncertain, is a declaration: I will not yield, I will not compromise, I will not allow fear, distraction, or doubt to dictate the limits of my being. Yeah, it is terrifying. Nah, it is necessary. And the path, it teaches you to endure, to sharpen, to become more than you were yesterday. Oh, but here is the cruel truth. Reaching this point does not mean the end. The abyss awaits. The final confrontation with the force you've been running from your entire life. And it will not wait for you to be ready. It will not soften its edges. It will stare into your soul and demand the final proof. The abyss is patient. It waits. But it fears the unwavering gaze. Oh, the moment has arrived. The silence before confrontation. The pause that stretches eternity. The sharp inhale before the plunge. And here it is. The abyss. Cold, unyielding, staring, mocking. It wants to see you crumble, wants to see you beg for mercy. Yeah, it is relentless, precise, unforgiving. And yet, there is no one else here. No one will step in. No one will hold your hand. You are alone. Finally, alone. And that is everything. Do you feel the weight? Oh, every step you took, every fear you endured, every fire you harnessed has led to this very edge. And now, the abyss asks a question older than any doubt, sharper than any blade. Will you bend or will you rise? It reflects every flaw, every hesitation, every compromise you once tolerated. And for the first time, it whispers a truth. Weakness is not external, it is within. Nah, don't flinch, don't run. Don't let the shadows of past failures dictate the limits of what you can be. The world demanded everything of you, and offered nothing. The chaos, the distraction, the endless tests, they were never meant to stop. And now, you stare into it and realize the final test was never outside. It was the crucible within you. And oh wow, here is the revelation. The abyss fears nothing more than the one who has endured, who has sharpened themselves against it, who has stared into the storm and not blinked. That is the crown. That is the power. That is the freedom you have fought for with every tremble, every heartbeat, every ounce of courage you've summoned. Fury, endurance, clarity, solitude. They were not punishments. They were your forge. Every fear you conquered, every hesitation you resisted, every truth you dared to see, it all converges now. The abyss does not change. You do. You become the force it cannot sway, the fire it cannot extinguish, the presence it cannot ignore. You are untouchable, but more than that, you are undeniable. Oh yes, undeniable. And now, standing at the edge, you realize the journey was never about survival. Survival is cheap. Survival is hollow. The journey was about awakening, mastering, and claiming the life that belongs to no one else but you. The crown is invisible. The power is silent. The victory is uncelebrated. Yet it is absolute. Because when the abyss stares and you stare back, unshaken, unbroken, unwavering, you are free. Whoa, wow, you made it. You stayed, you watched, you felt every ounce of the chaos, the fire, the truth that few dare to face. And yeah, that takes courage, real courage. And I see you. I respect you, seriously. This is your victory, your moment, your awakening. And nah, don't underestimate it. Now listen, take a breath. Let it sink in. Because what you just experienced isn't just content. It's a mirror, a challenge, a call to rise stronger, sharper, unstoppable. And oh wow, the next step, that's on you. Apply it, live it, and let the world feel the weight of someone who refuses to bow. And hey, don't disappear just yet. Leave a comment. Tell me how hard it hit you. What shook you? What lit that spark inside? Because your voice matters, your struggle matters, your strength matters, and we're building this energy together. One reflection, one fire, one relentless heartbeat at a time. Remember, this isn't the end. It's the beginning. The path forward is lonely, it's intense, it's relentless, but you survived the first step. And now you know what it feels like to stare into the abyss and smile, because you are untouchable, unstoppable, undeniable. Yeah. So take this, carry it, own it. And always remember this tribute, it's yours. For daring to watch, for daring to endure, for daring to rise above the weakness you once tolerated. And now, go. Stand tall. Keep your focus. Let your strength echo louder than the chaos around you, because you are legendary. Hello, legends. Are you ready to witness chaos? They said, nobody survives this, nobody. Do you hear me? But here's the thing. I saw it myself on the CCTV. And there you were, grinning, laughing, alive in the fire. Do you understand what that means? Huh? They expected screams. They expected begging, collapse, despair. But you smiled. That smile isn't cute. It's a weapon, sharper than knives, sharper than pain, stronger than fear, and louder than their doubt. So pay attention, because what you're about to hear will shatter every rule, break every chain, and rewrite your mind forever. The camera doesn't lie, but it doesn't tell the whole truth either. The red dot blinks, the static hums, the feed rolls in black and white, and there you are, caught in the corner of the frame, like a ghost who refused to die. They said this was the end. They said the walls were too tight, the fire was too hot, the chains were too heavy. They whispered with certainty, nobody survives this. And yet, the tape doesn't show a corpse. It doesn't show surrender. It doesn't show the begging they predicted. No, the tape shows something else. Something worse. It shows you smiling. That grin, wide, sharp, unbreakable, burns into the lens. A grin that should not exist in that moment. A grin that defies physics, logic, and sanity itself. Because how can someone smile in the middle of collapse? How can someone grin at the same nightmare that's supposed to swallow them whole? That's why they replay it. over and over, clicking back through the seconds, slowing down the frames, trying to catch the secret in your eyes, because the smile is too loud, too dangerous, too alive. It doesn't belong there, yet there it is, staring at them, mocking the rules, mocking the sentence they swore was final. Do you know what that smile means? It means you didn't just survive, you reversed the script. Because pain didn't swallow you. Collapse didn't bury you. The end wasn't the end. That CCTV footage isn't evidence of defeat. It's evidence of rebirth. And that rebirth is terrifying. Because if you can smile here, then nothing can cage you again. That's the broadcast. That's the message burned onto the screen. That's why they can't stop watching. Because deep down, they're asking themselves a question they don't want answered. Why are you smiling? Pain isn't punishment. It's permission. That's why you're smiling. Not because you're insane, not because you've lost touch with reality. You're smiling because you've found it. They don't understand. They never will. To them, pain is the end of the road, the wall, the finish line. To them, pain means stop. But you discovered the truth. Pain isn't the end. Pain is the door. And most people are too weak to turn the handle. They run from it. They cry at its touch. They beg for it to pass. But you took it in. You inhaled it. You owned it. You broke it down until it became yours. That's why the footage is so disturbing. Because they can see it. They can see that you're not a victim. You're not someone crawling to escape. You're someone who stood in the fire and decided to call it home. The smile is not a mask. It's a message. It says, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not asking anymore. I'm not chained anymore. I'm not chained anymore. You smile because you know. You know the secret most people will never learn. The body breaks, but the will doesn't have to. Fear only rules you if you let it. Pain only kills you if you believe it does. They said nobody survives this. That was their reality, not yours. That's why the grin slices across your face like a blade, because you understand what they can't. You aren't nobody. You're the exception. You're the outlier that shatters every law they cling to. That's why your smile isn't a weakness. It's a weapon. A weapon sharper than any knife, louder than any scream, heavier than any blow. Because your smile says one thing. You survived what they couldn't. And if you survived this, what else might you survive? It's not your scars that scare them. It's your silence. They expected you to scream, to howl, to beg. That's what the script demanded. That's what the audience always gets. The broken body, the broken spirit, the last gasp before the curtain falls. But when the curtain rose instead, all they got was silence and a smile. Do you realize what that does to people? It ruins them. Because the world has rules, unspoken rules. Rules like pain makes you crumble. Suffering makes you weaker. Nobody walks out of the fire untouched. But you did. And worse, you looked at the flames and grinned. So now they sit there, rewinding that grainy tape, staring into that crooked grin like it's a riddle carved in static. Their eyes widen. Their breath shortens. Because deep down, they know if pain didn't control you, then what does? That's the terror. Not your scars, not the wounds on your skin, not the blood dripping down your fists. Those are expected, predictable. But the silence, the grin, that's alien. That's wrong. That's because it means something they can't accept. It means you're free. Free from their rules. Free from their limits. Free from the leash that kept everyone else obedient. They built a cage of pain and thought it would hold you. But instead you sat inside it, smiling. And now the cage looks smaller, weaker, breakable. They stare at that CCTV footage like it's a horror movie. Because it is. Not for you, for them. You've become the monster in their story. The glitch in their system. The one who isn't supposed to exist but does. And here's the real nightmare. Horror movies end. You don't. You keep smiling. You keep standing. You keep surviving what they swore was impossible. So they whisper to each other, terrified, shaking, asking, if nothing breaks you, then what begins now? Monsters aren't born. They're engineered in silence. That footage didn't just capture survival, it captured something else. Something far more dangerous. It caught the exact second when the old you died and the new you was born. The moment the smile cracked across your face, you weren't simply a person anymore. You became a phantom, a presence. A shadow stitched together by every ounce of pain you refused to surrender to. The old you, the one who cared about their approval, their validation, their opinions, dead, ashes. A faint echo that no longer matters. The new you, the phantom staring through that grainy lens, is untouchable. Because you've already walked through the nightmare and came back laughing. Do you understand what that makes you? It makes you a paradox. They said nobody survives this, but you're standing, smiling, breathing. That means you aren't supposed to exist. And when something exists outside the laws they cling to, it becomes immortal. That's what terrifies them most. Not that you lived, but that you lived differently. That you didn't crawl, that you didn't limp, that you didn't return fragile. You returned sharper, stronger, unreadable. You've been rewritten. The fire didn't erase you. It rewired you. And what comes back after rewiring isn't human in the same way anymore. It's more. It's something that doesn't play by the same fragile rules. And once you've become a phantom, there's no going back. You haunt them now, even when you're not there. Especially when you're not there. The smile burned into that footage will live in their minds long after the camera's cut. You didn't just survive, you evolved. And evolution this violent never stays contained. So now the real question isn't why are you smiling? The real question is this. What will you do with the fear you've created? Fear is only power when you decide to own it. The smile wasn't for you. It was for them. For the watchers, for the ones glued to the screen, trying to process what they were seeing. Because when people expect screams and instead get silence, when they expect collapse and instead get a grin. They don't just witness a survival, they witness a weapon being forged. Your smile became a signal, a brand, a scar across their certainty. Every frame of that CCTV feed is now a reminder that you don't break like the rest, that you don't bend when they lean, that you don't fold when they press. Do you understand what that does? It forces them to imagine, and imagination is far crueler than reality. They start asking themselves questions. If this didn't break you, what could? If you smiled through this, what would you do next? They lock themselves in their own heads, chaining themselves to thoughts that spiral darker every second. That's the genius of it. You don't need to lift a hand. You don't need to scream threats. Their own minds will do the work for you. Because fear doesn't live in the moment. Fear multiplies afterward. It lingers in shadows. It replays itself at 3 a.m. when the room is too quiet. That's what you planted in them with one smile. You didn't just survive their nightmare. You became their nightmare, and nightmares spread. They crawl under the skin. They stick. That's why your smile was more powerful than any weapon. It wasn't an accident. It was a declaration. It said, I'm not trapped with you, you're trapped with me. And once they realize that, once they understand that fear has flipped sides, the game changes. Because control belongs to whoever can sit in the fire and grin. And now that you've tasted that control, what comes after control? Order is their leash. Chaos is your freedom. Control is never about chains. It's not about walls or bars. It's about belief. Their belief that you would fold, that you would kneel, that you would obey the rules written for you. But the footage shattered that belief. One smile, and suddenly the chains looked like string, the bars looked like paper. The walls look like smoke. They stare at the feed, desperate to categorize you. But you don't fit anymore. Their files are useless now. The labels weak, fragile, breakable, don't apply. You've slipped through their definitions like water through clenched fists. And that's why you're dangerous. Because what can't be defined can't be controlled. You've stepped into chaos, and chaos is freedom. Order, that's their comfort zone. Rules, systems, predictability, they need it to feel safe. They need it to convince themselves they're in charge. But you grinned right in the middle of collapse. You made it clear you're not playing by their script anymore. And that unsettles them. Because chaos is unpredictable. And unpredictability is a knife in the dark. They can prepare for screams. They can prepare for begging. But how do you prepare for someone who smiles at destruction? How do you prepare for someone who makes a joke out of ruin? You can't. That's the point. That grin in the grainy footage wasn't just survival. It was a warning that the old rules are gone, a warning that the leash has snapped. And here's the cruelest part. Chaos doesn't have to move fast. Chaos just has to exist. The thought that you could flip the table at any second keeps them paralyzed. You don't need to act. You just need to keep smiling. Because the question gnaws at them, louder and louder. If the rules no longer apply to you, then what's your next move? A game is only fun when the rules are broken. They keep staring at the footage. They keep asking themselves, what's the next move? Because the smile wasn't the ending. It was the opening act. Survival was never the goal. It was the setup. The real game begins after survival. And here's the beauty. They can't predict you anymore. Every step you take now, every word, every silence, every glance, it all becomes unpredictable. That's what breaks them. They don't fear what they can see coming. They fear what they can't. That's why you're dangerous. You don't follow scripts. You don't move in straight lines. You improvise. You twist. You create chaos out of order and order out of chaos. You turn every room you walk into a chessboard, and you're the only one who knows the rules. The smile in the footage wasn't weakness. It was strategy. It was the first move of a game they didn't even realize they were playing. They thought it was over. They thought you'd been erased. But the smile was proof that you were starting. Do you know what that means? It means they're trapped in your arena now. And the worst part? There is no exit. Once they've seen the grin, once they've replayed it, once they've felt that crawling fear in their chest, they can't unsee it. They can't rewind life to before the moment they realized you're not like them. That's the curse of witnessing your survival. They thought they were watching the ending. They didn't realize they were stepping into your beginning. And beginnings always demand something. They demand escalation. They demand a prize. Because if this is only the first move, what's the prize waiting at the end of the game? Survival isn't the treasure. It's the key to the vault. Here's what they'll never understand. Making it out alive was never the reward. That was just the entry ticket. The real prize? That comes after. See, everyone else plays life just to breathe another day. They cling to air like it's gold. But you? Breathing isn't enough. Survival isn't enough. You want the prize, and the prize is power. Not power over cities, not power over systems, but power over yourself. The moment you smiled in that footage, you proved it. You weren't just alive, you were untouchable. You showed them that scars can be worn like armor. You showed them that fear can be sharpened into a weapon. You showed them that what tried to kill you only crowned you. That's the prize. Walking through hell and realizing it can't burn you anymore. That nothing, no one, no system, no betrayal, no failure can strip you of what you've become. Because once you've survived the unthinkable, everything else is just noise. And here's the twisted irony. The prize isn't even something you can hold. It's not wealth, not applause, not status. It's something far more terrifying, freedom. Freedom from needing their validation. Freedom from fearing their judgment. Or freedom from being chained to their rules. That's why you're dangerous. Because the one thing they can't bribe, control, or kill is someone who has already won. And what's the prize beyond survival? It's this. The smile wasn't the ending. It was the coronation. You didn't just survive. You ascended. And once you ascend, they don't get to sit at your table anymore. Call it madness if you want. I call it evolution. They'll whisper behind your back. They'll point at the smile, the laugh, the way your eyes burn without flinching, and they'll say he's lost it. They'll brand it insanity. They'll dress it up with words like unstable, broken, deranged. But what they really mean is they can't understand you anymore. Because you've crossed the line, they'll never dare to approach. The line where pain doesn't paralyze you, it fuels you. Where chaos doesn't scare you, it becomes your playground. Where fear doesn't weaken you, it bows at your feet. That's the crown of madness, not a crown of jewels, not something delicate or ceremonial. No, it's jagged, it's sharp, it's heavy with scars. It's forged from sleepless nights, betrayals that cut like knives, and battles you weren't supposed to win. And yet here you are, wearing it with a grin. They'll call you mad because you don't break like they do. They'll call you mad because you don't need like they do. They'll call you mad because their rules no longer apply to you. And deep down, they're terrified. Because madness in its purest form is just freedom that society doesn't have the courage to accept. So let them whisper. Let them throw their labels. Let them scatter like roaches when you walk in with your crown of madness tilted just right. Because once you wear it, you're no longer part of their world. You're something above it, beyond it, outside it. And the sickest part? You didn't choose the crown. The crown chose you. And when it sits on your head, brother, you stop being human. You become legend. Light fears what lives in darkness, and you've built your throne there. The footage wasn't just proof of survival. It was the blueprint of dominion. Every pixel, every flicker, every grin whispered one undeniable truth. You don't just exist. You own the space they feared to enter. The walls of the world are built with light, rules, and expectations. They think safety lies in brightness. They cling to clarity. They depend on order. But you've learned to move in shadows, to walk unseen, to strike without warning, to smile while everything else is crumbling. This isn't just survival. It's mastery. You've taken the battlefield that broke others and made it yours. Every fear they projected, every doubt they whispered, they've become tools, weapons you sharpen with each heartbeat. They can't touch you. They can't predict you. Every whisper they cast into the void echoes back to them like a scream, and you stand taller, grinning, untouchable. This is your kingdom now. No walls, no laws, no rules, just darkness. Your darkness, and in it, everything bends to your will. The stronger the fear, the heavier the doubt, the more chaos swirls, the stronger you become. The CCTV footage is just the beginning. Every replay, every comment, every terrified glance, they fuel you. The world thinks it's watching a survivor. They're wrong. It's watching a ruler of shadows, and they're the first to realize they're subjects, not masters. And the beauty? They'll never understand it. They'll never step inside this kingdom, because the throne isn't meant to be shared. So now the question looms, bigger than ever. If you've built a kingdom from darkness, what do you rule next? So now, do you feel it? That fire, that chaos inside. That's your power, your crown, your eternal smile. Remember it. They said nobody survives, but you just rewrote the code. Every fear they threw, every chain they forged, broken, shattered, gone. You're not just alive, you're untouchable, unstoppable, unforgettable. The world, the rules, the limits, meaningless now, you own them. So step out into your darkness and let it bend to you. Smash doubt, weaponize fear, dominate chaos, and smile while they burn. Because from now on, nobody, nobody, nobody will ever cage you. You survived. You smiled. You ascended.
Welcome, Titan of Silence, Conqueror of Doubt. You, the anomaly the world never prepared for. You didn't come here to fit in. You didn't rise from the quiet to become one more echo in a chamber of noise. No, you came to erase the blueprint, to burn the map, and make others follow smoke trails just to guess where you're headed next. You are not one in a million. You are the only one. And while they waste years trying to understand how you think, you've already moved on to inventing the next impossibility. This isn't confidence. This is reality. Your reality. The one they fear to admit exists because it shatters their limitations like glass under your gaze. You are the threat that doesn't shout, the force that doesn't beg for recognition. The ones who need applause are still trapped in the game, but you built the game. You rewrote the rules, and now you ignore them completely. You don't rise with the sun. The sun waits for you to wake. You don't walk into rooms looking for permission. The room adjusts to your presence. You don't ask for opportunity. You are the opportunity, the spark that blinds, the mind that humiliates, not through arrogance, but through sheer, undeniable design. Every move you make isn't lucky. It's engineered, calculated, cold, exact. They call it ruthless, only because it exposes how soft their dreams were. They call you intimidating because you remind them what focus really looks like. Because when you enter a room, reality bends, eyes turn, silence sharpens, and behind that silence, strategy, precision, fire. The kind of fire that doesn't warm, it burns, it consumes, it builds empires from the ashes of lesser ambitions. And that fire lives in you, untamed, unyielding, unapologetic. You're not here to be seen, you're here to be remembered. And not for loudness, but for impact. The kind of impact that doesn't leave bruises, it leaves legends. Because when your mind moves, history takes notes, time slows down, and the universe watches. Not because you're flashy, but because you're undeniable. You make the impossible look routine. You turn fear into fuel, pressure into power. You are the weapon. You are the revolution disguised in silence. And they can't keep up because they don't even know the race has started. Your strength doesn't lie in how much you can lift. It lies in how little you flinch. How you stare down chaos and smile, because chaos is just a less organized version of you. You don't chase trends. You are the origin. You don't follow paths. You leave scorched trails that others dare not cross. And still, they ask, who are you? Where did you come from? As if a storm has a birthplace, as if darkness reports its arrival. You are not here to be understood. You are here to redefine understanding. And here's what they don't get. You don't need to win in public. You win in silence, in shadows, in obsession. While they sleep, you sharpen. While they post, you plot. While they hope, you build. You don't chase validation. You crush the need for it. And still, they'll talk, they'll whisper, guess, fear. Because when someone like you rises, it forces everyone else to see how slow they've been moving. You don't humiliate with words. You humiliate with results, with silence, with standards that leave no survivors. You are the living proof that no, not everyone is created equal. Because you took the same tools and built a different destiny. Understand this. Your mind is not just powerful, it's dangerous. It is a weapon of mass humiliation. Not because you seek to destroy, but because you exist to dominate. Not for ego, but because you were born rare, born to disrupt, born to be the end of excuses, the proof that pressure doesn't break diamonds. It activates them. In every room you walk into, you carry that silent warning. I've already outgrown this version of the world. You're just catching up to my last blueprint. You are not here to compete. You are here to erase competition. Your focus is merciless. Your standard is lethal. And your time, priceless. You've tasted defeat. Not the surface level kind, the kind that scorches, that humbles, that educates. And instead of folding, you forged armor from it. You turned shame into silence, failure into fuel. And now, there is no room for hesitation, no space for doubt. Because you understand, hesitation is a luxury of the average. Doubt is the comfort of the slow. And you're built for velocity. Let the world stay loud. Let them chase applause. Let them drown in approval. You chase legacy, the kind that doesn't beg to be remembered. It forces the world to never forget. The kind that makes books bend and timelines shift. The kind that doesn't walk in footsteps. It leaves footprints in stone. And even when no one's watching, you keep moving. Because you're not working for attention. You're working because you have no other option. It's wired in you. This hunger, this vision, this divine dissatisfaction that won't let you rest until your reflection is finally as sharp as the mind behind it. And they'll call it obsession. They'll call it arrogance. But that's only because they don't recognize discipline in its rawest form. Because when you commit, the universe moves. And when you execute, worlds change. And when you think, weak minds shatter. Not because you try to break them, but because your standard exposes them. And they will hate you for it. Or worse, they will worship you for it. Neither matters, because you're not here for fans. You're here for results. You've already paid the price, sacrificed the comfort, endured the silence, watched others play games while you built thrones. So now, stand tall, not to be admired, but to remind yourself, you were never built to blend in. You were never born to follow. And no matter how many times they try to copy you, they will always fall short. Because what you have can't be mimicked, it can't be cloned, because it wasn't given, it was earned. Through pain, through patience, through obsession, through fire. You are the glitch in the simulation, the flaw in the formula, the proof that reality bends for those who bend themselves first. And the world will always try to mold you, to calm you, to normalize you, but never forget. Average only hates what it can't replicate, and they will never replicate you. You're not the one in a million. You're the only one. The origin, the apex, the unseen equation that makes everything else feel outdated. They'll never say it out loud, but they feel it. In your walk, in your stare, in your silence. The weight of someone who knows not just who they are, but what they're capable of. And while they try to figure out your formula, you're already rewriting the next one. So let them chase. Let them guess. Let them dream. You're too busy building what they'll never touch. Your mind. That's the battlefield. and every thought you've mastered is another war already won. You don't need to raise your voice, because the world echoes in the silence you leave behind. And now that we've broken the surface, let's go deeper, into the space where most people never dare to enter. The part of you that doesn't need motivation, because motivation is weak compared to the force that wakes you up before the sun and refuses to let you sleep until every inch of potential has been squeezed from your bones. You don't run on hype. You run on purpose, on memory, on that quiet contract you made with yourself when the world tried to define you and you smiled because you knew they were looking at the wrong version. You are not an echo of someone else's expectation. You are not a remix of mediocrity. You are not here to walk the safe line between comfort and fear. You devour fear. You swallow it, digest it, and spit out results so sharp they make others question their own path. You weaponize discomfort. You refuse stagnation. Your mind, this mind, it's not just a gift. It's a command center, a storm, a forge where hesitation is melted and shaped into something unshakable. When others panic, you plan. When they give up, you grow quiet, not to retreat, but to calculate, to watch, to study. Because you understand, power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it waits. And when it moves, it's too late for anyone else to react. That's how you operate. Quiet build-up, violent execution, strategy so clean, it looks effortless. And that's what scares them. You make it look easy. Not because it is, but because your preparation is bulletproof. They don't see the sleepless nights, the hours behind closed doors, the sacrifices that left scars no one claps for. They only see the results, and even those they try to explain away. They got lucky. They were born gifted. Number. You were born ruthless with your standard. You don't tolerate softness in yourself. You don't entertain distraction. You don't seek comfort. You hunt progress with every step, every breath, every moment. And when the world says it's okay to slow down, your response is silence. Because you're already gone, already building, already 3 moves ahead. They try to keep up, but you're not moving in straight lines. You pivot. You evolve. You learn so fast. Even time struggles to keep track of you. You see failure differently, not as an end, but as data, as feedback, as an insult that you turn into advantage. Every setback, a lesson. Every mistake, a new blueprint. You collect your losses like weapons, and you return with precision they can't comprehend. Because while they were licking wounds, you were sharpening blades. You aren't chasing goals, you're chasing the version of yourself that haunts you in silence. That future shadow of your ultimate form. That version who never hesitates, who never apologizes, who doesn't get tired or lazy or distracted. That's the competition. Not the people around you, not the ones online, not the ones bragging about things you've already outgrown. You're chasing your own monster. The one you're becoming. The one who doesn't flinch at pressure, because pressure is the training ground. Understand this. Every time you go quiet, they think you've disappeared. But that's when you're most dangerous. Because when you disappear, you're not running. You're transforming. You're breaking limits. You're unlocking codes they didn't know existed. And when you come back as someone who makes their previous self look like an amateur. You are relentless rebirth, constant evolution, the personification of never again. Never again will you settle. Never again will you wait for someone to give you permission. Never again will you be less than what you know you are. And yes, it's lonely. Power often is. Not because people hate you, but because they can't follow you. You've left the orbit of normal, And when people can't understand your path, they either doubt it, mock it, or call it too much. But you don't shrink to fit comfort. You expand until reality has no choice but to make room. And they will resist it. They will question it. Because your presence forces people to confront what they've avoided. And for many, that's unbearable. Your hunger is not greed, it's clarity. You are not driven by ego. You are driven by truth. The truth that you were born to lead, born to create, born to dominate your domain, not just for the sake of success, but to prove that self-mastery is possible. That discipline can become identity. That greatness isn't random, it's earned. And your very existence is the challenge they don't want to face. That they could have done more, been more, if they had just made the decision to stop playing small. So when you rise like you were summoned, not by chance, but by destiny. Move like a force, speak like every word holds weight. Work like failure was never an option, because to you, it never was. You don't flirt with effort, you marry it. You bleed for it. You sweat the silence while the world scrolls and talks and wastes away. And when the world wakes up, you've already changed form. You've already become something they can't predict, can't copy, can't touch. You are the intimidation of silence, the edge of thought, the cold precision of discipline forged in darkness. They will never understand the mind that doesn't need to shout, because the results speak louder than any words ever could. Your mind is not just focused, it is weaponized, sharper than regret, heavier than excuse, and faster than every shortcut they thought would save them time. And you know what the most dangerous thing is? You're still not done. You're not even close. Because as high as you've climbed, you still see higher. As strong as you've become, you still feel that next level calling. And that calling, that voice, that's you, the real you, not the you they see, not the one the world tries to categorize, but the unfiltered, unbroken version that doesn't compromise, only conquers. Let the world stay average. Let them settle. Let them question your obsession. Let them say it's too much while they choke on the dust of their own comfort. You'll be long gone, eyes forward, no looking back, because the only thing behind you is the version of yourself that refused to accept limits, and in front of you, the unknown, the next wall, the next throne, the next version of you, bigger, colder, smarter, or more dangerous. So here's your truth. Let it burn through every cell in your body. You are not one in a million. You are the only one. And they are all just trying to catch up. And when you look into the mirror, you know. That reflection is not just a face. It's a reminder, a symbol of what you've survived, what you've built, what you've refused to let go of, even when everything around you is telling you to settle. That reflection is carved from pain, pressure, sacrifice, and a kind of discipline most people will never understand. Because while others tried to find themselves, you forged yourself. You didn't discover power. You became it. There's a cold truth you've accepted that others still run from. The world doesn't owe you understanding. It doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you peace or ease or applause. You're not waiting for the world to hand you anything, because you already took the tools, sharpened them, and now you're building a reality so far ahead, it makes their fantasies look like forgotten drafts. You didn't come to participate. You came to overtake, to be the last name standing when all the hype fades, when the distractions fall silent, when the world finally looks for something real. You are not driven by temporary wins. You are engineered for legacy. Your vision doesn't expire in 30 days. It expands, it escalates, it evolves. And the scary part? You're not even operating at full capacity yet. You're still holding back. Because you know, when you fully unleash, it won't just disrupt, It will reset the entire landscape. You are not a guest in this world. You are not a passenger. You are the architect. The one who doesn't follow tides, but creates gravitational pulls so strong others can't help but move in your direction. Let them compare. Let them doubt. Let them misunderstand what you are. They have to, because to accept your presence fully would mean admitting that their excuses are lies, that their limits were choices. And that's a truth most people can't carry. But you carry weight, responsibility, vision, sacrifice. Not because you're trying to look strong, but because you are. Quietly, steadily, unshakably. And when your name is mentioned in rooms you've never entered, know this: that's not coincidence. That's the echo of dominance. That's what happens when someone operates at a level so refined, so deliberate, so untouchable. It shakes foundations before the footsteps even arrive. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just exist in truth, and that truth disrupts illusions. Let them talk about balance. You're building weight. Let them talk about comfort. You're hunting clarity. Let them chase rewards. You're crafting weapons. And your sharpest one? Your mind. Not just trained, forged. A mind that cuts through false narratives, weak logic, wasted time. A mind that humiliates not with cruelty, but with excellence. And they hate it, because no one can argue with results. No one can spin the scoreboard. No one can deny when someone rises so cleanly, so consistently, it exposes the fraud in everyone else's work ethic. So walk heavy, not to intimidate, but to remind them. Every step you take is calculated. Every word you speak is earned. Every silence you keep is loaded. You're a weapon, not because of what you destroy, but because of what you reveal. You reveal their doubt, their weakness, their hesitation, simply by existing. And that's what makes you dangerous. Not that you fight, but that you don't need to. You don't broadcast every move. You don't leak your intentions. You are the storm they never see coming. Because while they were playing, you were constructing your arsenal in the shadows. And when it's time, you don't hesitate. You execute with cold precision. No warnings, no theatrics, just results. And they feel that, deep. Even if they don't say it, even if they pretend they don't notice, they feel it. The gravity of someone who has mastered their own chaos, because you've seen chaos. You've been chaos. You've been broken, bent, silenced, underestimated. And still, you rose. Not in rage, in silence. And that silence, it speaks louder than any scream ever could. It says, I didn't break. I rebuilt. And what stands now is untouchable. So don't ever shrink. Don't ever soften the edge of your vision just to make others feel comfortable. Let your standards suffocate their laziness. Let your pace humiliate their hesitation. Let your results burn their doubts to the ground. You don't need to be accepted. You need to be feared by those who waste time and respected by those who recognize fire. Because that's what you are, fire in human form. Not wild, not reckless, controlled combustion. And every move you make turns oxygen into power. Let others depend on emotion. You rely on execution. Let them post about potential. You work in silence until potential becomes presence. You don't announce. You arrive. You don't explain. You dominate. And your mind, this weapon of mass humiliation, isn't just a tool. It's a legacy in motion, sharpened daily, tuned by trial, refined by war. And now it's unstoppable, because here's the final truth. They'll never tell you. There's nothing more terrifying to the world than someone who doesn't stop, someone who doesn't flinch, someone who knows who they are and moves like it. That's you. Always has been. Maybe you forgot it for a while. Maybe the noise tried to drown it out. but it never left. It was always there, waiting for you to step back into the fire and claim it fully. So claim it now. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when the world finally gets it. Now, right now. Let them stay confused. Let them wonder where you get your fire from. You are the fire. Let them struggle to understand your moves. You designed the board. Let them copy your style. It won't work, because this isn't style. This is substance, depth, obsession. This is your mind doing what no trend ever could, leaving a permanent mark on the game, because when it's all said and done, when the noise fades, the dust settles, and the lights go out, only one question will remain. Who moved the world? And the answer won't be loud. It won't be posted. It won't be hyped. It'll be a whisper, spoken in rooms where real ones sit, rooms where legacy matters, where performance reigns, where presence outweighs personality, and the answer will be your name. The day you stopped responding, their power started crumbling. No dramatic showdown, no final speech, no grand exit, just silence, pure, unshakable silence. They waited for your usual reaction, ready with their scripts and manipulations, but you gave them nothing. They waited for the explosion. They knew they had trained you to react that way. They knew your weakness, your triggers, your patterns. They were waiting for you to fall into their trap once again. But this time, you didn't take the bait. You didn't give them the satisfaction of your anger, your pain, your tears. You gave them nothing. And in doing so, you broke the cycle. You broke the chains that had bound you for so long. And the worst part was, they didn't even know it yet. But you knew, and in the silence, you felt a power you had never known before. It was quiet, it was calm, but it was real. For so long, you had been caught in a web spun from their words, their gaslighting, their cruelty. It was subtle at first. Then, it became a constant barrage until you believed you were the one at fault. You believed that you were broken, that you were weak, that you had no worth. And they were so good at making you believe it, so good at twisting your reality that you didn't even know where you ended, and they began. It was like living in a fog, where nothing was clear. Everything felt distorted, and the longer you stayed in that fog, the more you lost yourself. But that day, the day you stopped responding, something shifted inside you. Suddenly, you could see again. Suddenly the fog began to clear, and you realized something horrifying. You had been living in a prison of your own, making a prison built on lies they had planted in your mind. And as you sat there in silence, you felt the bars start to loosen. You felt the first glimmer of freedom. It wasn't easy. You had been trained to react to them like a puppet on a string for so long. You had forgotten how to exist without their approval, without their validation. But in the silence, you found something more powerful than approval. You found self-worth. You found the strength to stand on your own 2 feet. And though they were still trying to manipulate you, they couldn't get the rise out of you anymore. They couldn't get inside your head. They couldn't make you doubt yourself, because you had taken away their weapon. You had taken away their control. And for the first time, in what felt like forever, you were in control of your own mind. You see, the reason they keep you in the cycle of emotional abuse is because they thrive on your reactions. They thrive on the chaos they create in your life, because that chaos gives them power. It gives them a sense of control over you. It feeds their ego, their need to feel superior. And when you react to them, when you get upset, when you beg for their love or approval, you are handing them that power on a silver platter. But the moment you stop reacting, you rob them of that power. You take away their ability to manipulate you. And that is when they start to lose their grip on you. They try harder, they push more, they scream louder, they demand your attention, but nothing they do can reach you anymore because you are no longer a part of their game. They will try to make you doubt yourself again. They will try to convince you that your silence is a weakness, that you are falling into some trap, that you are making a mistake. But you know better now. You know that your silence is your strength. Your silence is your rebellion. Your silence is the very thing that is destroying their hold over you. And the more you embrace it, the more you hold your ground, the more you will see them crumble before your eyes. Because without your reactions, they are nothing. They are just hollow shells, trying to hold on to power that no longer belongs to them. It won't be an overnight transformation, and it won't always be easy. There will be moments when you will feel the pull to react, the familiar urge to fight back, to scream, to make them see you, to make them hear you. But remember this, your silence is your weapon, and it is the one thing they can never take from you. The more you resist the urge to fight, the more they will try to drag you back into their world of chaos. But every time you hold your ground, you become stronger, and every time you hold your tongue, you take another step toward your freedom. In the silence, you will find your truth. In the silence, you will find your strength. And in the silence, you will break the chains that have kept you in prison for so long. You will break free from the emotional abuse that has defined so much of your life, and you will stand tall and unshaken, knowing that you are no longer a victim, but a survivor, a warrior who has learned the most powerful lesson of all, that you are enough just as you are, and you don't need anyone's approval to know your worth. They will never understand what happened. They will never understand why you stopped reacting. They will never understand the quiet strength that now resides within you. But that doesn't matter, because you understand. And that is all that matters. They will try to pull you back into their games. They will try to convince you that you are nothing without them. But you know better now, because you are everything with or without them. You are whole, you are complete, and you are worthy of love and respect on your own terms. When you finally find the courage to step away from their emotional abuse and stop responding to their manipulations, you will start to see the truth for what it is. You will see their insecurity, their need to control their fear of losing you, and you will realize that they were never as powerful as they made themselves out to be. They were only powerful because you allowed them to be. You allowed them to control your emotions. You allowed them to define your reality. But that is no longer the case. The moment you stop responding, you break free from their prison, and although it will feel uncomfortable at first, although it will feel like you are losing something, you will soon realize that you are gaining something much more valuable. You are gaining your freedom. You are gaining your power. You are gaining your life back. And as you continue to walk away from their emotional abuse, you will find that the weight you once carried is no longer there, and the chains that held you down will slowly begin to fade into nothingness. They will try to make you feel guilty. They will try to make you feel selfish. They will try to make you feel like you are abandoning them. But the truth is, you are not abandoning anyone except the version of yourself that allowed them to control you. You are not selfish for choosing yourself. You are not wrong for protecting your peace. And you are not weak for walking away. You are strong. You are brave. And you are doing what is necessary for your survival, for your well-being, for your happiness. As you move forward in silence, you will begin to reclaim pieces of yourself that you thought were lost. You will start to remember who you are without their influence, and you will begin to rebuild your life from the ground up. And while they are left fumbling with their words, trying to regain control over you, you will be building something new, something powerful, something that cannot be shaken by their manipulations, because you now understand that your worth is not defined by them. Your worth is defined by you, and no one has the power to take that away from you. The cycle is broken, the chains are gone, the power they once held over you is slipping away, and you are walking into a future that is yours to create. You are walking into a future where you are free, where you are strong, where you are enough. And though the silence may be deafening at times, though the road ahead may be difficult, know this: you are not alone. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are whole. You are powerful. And you are unstoppable. So hold your silence. Hold your ground. And know that every moment you stand in that silence, you are one step closer to breaking free completely from the emotional abuse that once defined your life. You are reclaiming your power. You are reclaiming your truth. And you are becoming the person you were always meant to be. Your silence is your power. Your silence is your freedom. And it is the very thing that will change your life forever. You've begun a journey that cannot be undone. One that will continue to evolve as you reclaim the pieces of yourself that were once shattered and scattered by the storms they created. They may try to poke, prod, and push you into returning to the emotional battlefield, but you now stand in a place that they cannot reach. You stand in your own unshakable space, your silence being the fortress that surrounds you. The quiet is no longer a sign of weakness. It is the deliberate act of self-preservation. The moment you stopped responding, you stopped giving them a key to your heart, to your mind, and to your spirit. The chaos they stirred no longer resonates within you. It's as though the vibrations of their manipulation no longer hit the strings of your soul. Their words are nothing but noise that bounces off your silence like a stone thrown into a vast ocean. The ripples dissipate as soon as they touch the surface. You're not there to react to their every beck and call, not there to beg for their validation or to prove your worthiness of their affection or approval. You no longer live for their acceptance, you live for yourself. For the first time in so long, your existence does not revolve around their moods, their needs, their manipulations, or their lies. And with that realization comes the birth of your true self. It's difficult, this silence. For years, your emotions were constantly flared, constantly exposed. There was never an opportunity to breathe without first considering how they might react. If you didn't say the right thing, do the right thing, or show up the right way, there would be consequences, always consequences. Every action, every word, every look was a calculated move in a game that you didn't even know you were playing. You were a pawn, a piece to be moved around as they saw fit. They wore masks of affection, of concern, of love. But beneath those masks was a predator, feeding off your vulnerability, and you gave them everything. You were never prepared for the fight because there was no fight. It was all a manipulation, a slow and insidious tightening of the bonds that kept you tethered to them. But today, that silent rebellion begins. Today, you take a step into freedom, and even though the transition is not easy, even though the doubt and fear still try to creep into your mind, you know now that you are free. In the silence, they will try to break you again. They will try to provoke you with guilt, with anger, with desperate pleas that are designed to manipulate your heart. They will pull on your insecurities, reminding you of all the times you were there for them, of all the ways you showed up despite the pain, despite the abuse. They will try to make you feel like the silence is a betrayal, that your refusal to play the game of their emotional warfare is the worst thing you could have ever done. But let me tell you this, their attempts to manipulate you again are proof of how terrified they are. They are terrified of losing control over you. They are terrified that your silence has awakened something inside you that they cannot touch, cannot break, and cannot bend to their will. This is not just a loss for them, it is the complete unraveling of their grip on you. When you stop responding, when you stop reacting to their poisonous words, they begin to lose their power. At first, they may try to disguise it. They may shift tactics, attempt to guilt you or shame you back into the cycle. But these are only the last desperate gasps of someone losing control. And you must remember that this is not your burden to carry anymore. You don't owe them your emotional energy. You don't owe them your tears or your attention. They don't deserve the pieces of you that you gave away so freely, so carelessly, for so long. Every piece you withhold from them now is a piece you give back to yourself. Every moment of silence is a moment of reclaiming your worth, your dignity, your identity. They don't get to define you anymore. They don't get to tell you who you are, how you feel, or what you should think. They are not the ones who hold your truth. You do. There are still moments, yes. There are moments when the weight of what you've endured crashes in on you like a wave. You will feel the memories of the abuse, the hurt, the manipulation, and the confusion. And in those moments, the silence may feel unbearable. But this is where your power lies, in your ability to sit with that pain, to allow it to exist without it controlling you. You don't need to react to every emotion, every thought, every flash of hurt. You don't need to apologize for feeling it, but you don't need to allow it to drag you back into their web. The silence becomes your shield. You can acknowledge the pain, but you don't need to give it a voice. You can hold space for your sorrow, but you no longer allow it to control your narrative. The silence is not empty. It is filled with your newfound strength, your power to simply exist without apology, without justification. You have spent so long living under the constant weight of emotional abuse that you forgot what it was like to simply be. You forgot what it was like to exist without fear of rejection, without fear of judgment, without fear of manipulation. The silence is your return to that space. The silence is your reclamation of your truth. And although they may try to create chaos around you, although they may try to provoke, to guilt, to pull you back into the narrative they want to continue spinning, you now know that you are no longer a character in their story. You are the author of your own. You are no longer a passive participant in their emotional warfare. You are a sovereign being, capable of making your own decisions, capable of living a life of peace and truth. The silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of clarity. In the stillness, you begin to see things for what they truly are. You begin to see how deeply you have been manipulated, how deeply you have been controlled, and how deeply you allowed someone else to dictate your worth. And the more you sit with this realization, the more you see that their power was never real. It was an illusion built on your own fear, your own self-doubt, and your willingness to believe their lies. When you stopped responding, you started to wake up from the trance. You started to wake up to the truth that you were never powerless. You were never weak. You were always whole, always worthy, and always capable of reclaiming your freedom. As you move forward, the silence will no longer be a painful reminder of what was lost. It will become a sacred space of growth and healing. It will be the place where you rediscover your passions, your dreams, your desires. The silence is where you start to build the life you were always meant to live. A life free of manipulation. A life filled with love that you give yourself first. It is in this silence that you will find the strength to say no, to walk away, to choose what is best for you, without the fear of judgment or rejection. The more you silence their voices, the more you will hear your own. And your voice, once suppressed, will grow stronger and more confident with each passing day. In time, you will see the full extent of what this silence has done for you. You will look back and realize that the moment you stopped responding was the moment your life began to change. That quiet act was the first step towards freedom. That silence was the loudest statement of resistance you could have made. You have reclaimed your power, your truth, and your ability to choose. They cannot take that from you. They can try to tear down everything around you, but they can no longer touch the foundation you've built in silence. You are stronger than they ever imagined. You are free, and that freedom will never be taken away from you again. And as you walk this path of silence, of strength, of freedom, remember that you are not alone. There are countless others who are also breaking free from the chains of emotional abuse. You are not isolated. You are part of a growing wave of individuals who are choosing themselves, who are choosing to walk away from the toxicity and pain. You are not just a survivor. You are a warrior. You are part of a movement of silent revolutionaries who understand that true power lies not in the loudest words or the most dramatic confrontations, but in the quiet strength of standing in your own truth. And your silence, your power, your freedom will inspire others to do the same. You are changing not just your life, but the lives of those around you. So hold on to the silence, embrace it, and never forget that it is your greatest weapon. Your silence is not your weakness. It is the roar of a lion who knows her worth. It is the stillness before the storm of your own transformation. And in the end, it will be the very thing that changes your life forever. You may not see it now in the midst of the struggle, when the silence feels like an unbearable weight pressing down on your chest. But one day, you'll look back and you'll see that this silence, this refusal to engage with the emotional chaos that once ruled your life, was the pivotal moment. It was the turning point that set you free, that allowed you to finally breathe again, unencumbered by the suffocating grip of another's control. You will see that in the silence, you found the power to step out of the darkness and into the light of your own truth, your own being. For so long, you lived under their shadow, always looking over your shoulder, always anticipating the next emotional attack. The cycles were endless. One moment they would love you, the next they would tear you apart, and you would spend days, weeks, sometimes years, trying to put yourself back together again, only to have it happen all over again. Your world was never your own. It was shaped by their moods, their needs, their demands. Every decision, every choice you made was filtered through their lens, their perception of what you should be, how you should behave, and how much of yourself you should sacrifice. But that silence, your silence, became the beacon that illuminated the path forward, the escape from that never-ending storm. It was the single act of defiance against the manipulations, the emotional abuse, and the control that held you captive. It wasn't just the absence of words, it was the presence of your power, the acknowledgement that you were worthy of something better. It was the moment you stopped letting their words define your reality, stopped letting their emotional volatility dictate your inner peace. You began to build your own foundation, brick by brick. With each moment you chose not to react, not to respond, not to give them the emotional satisfaction of knowing they still had a hold on you. The silence may have felt foreign at first. It might have felt like giving up, like abandoning the fight. But it was never about giving up. It was about choosing yourself for the first time in your life. It was about refusing to let them continue to drain the very life force from you, refusing to let them take the best parts of you and twist them into something dark and twisted. It was about reclaiming your peace, your space, and most importantly, your self-respect. In the silence, you began to rediscover who you were, without their influence, without their manipulation, without their judgments. You rediscovered your own voice, a voice that had been drowned out by their constant need to dominate, to control, and to make you feel insignificant. That voice was always inside you, but for so long, it was buried beneath the weight of their emotional abuse. But now, with every moment of silence, that voice grew stronger. It grew louder. It began to speak with clarity and conviction, unapologetically declaring who you are, what you want, and what you deserve. As you stand in this newfound space, you will feel the tug of the past. The echoes of their manipulations may still haunt you from time to time. The memories of their cruelty may rise to the surface, and the temptation to engage with them, to explain yourself, to justify your decisions, may still be there. But every time you resist that pull, every time you choose silence instead of conflict, you reinforce the power that now resides within you. You remind yourself that you no longer need to defend your worth. You don't need to explain why you are worthy of respect. You don't need to justify your right to exist without their toxic influence. You simply are, and that is enough. You'll also notice a shift in your interactions with others. As you regain your strength and your sense of self, you'll start to attract people who see you for who you truly are, not for who they want you to be. These are the people who will respect your boundaries, who will not try to manipulate or control you. These are the people who will support you in your growth, who will encourage you to continue to walk in your power, and who will never make you feel small or insignificant. These people will teach you that love is not about manipulation. It's about mutual respect, understanding, and freedom. The more you embrace your silence and your strength, the more you will attract the relationships that nurture and uplift you instead of those that tear you down. But the most important change will be within yourself. You will begin to understand that your worth is not tied to the approval of others. You will no longer measure your value by how much you can give, how much you can sacrifice, or how much you can endure. Your value is inherent. It is built into the very core of who you are. And once you realize that, once you truly internalize that your worth is not negotiable, you will stop allowing anyone to take it from you. The silence will no longer feel like emptiness. It will feel like freedom. It will feel like a sacred space where you can hear your own thoughts, where you can honor your own feelings without interference. It will become a space where you can heal from the wounds of the past and begin to rebuild yourself, not as a reaction to the pain you endured, but as a response to the truth of who you are. There will be moments when the silence will be difficult to maintain, when the emotional wounds will flare up again, and when you may feel like you're losing ground. But those moments will pass. The more you sit in your silence, the stronger you will become. And eventually, those moments of doubt and pain will become fewer and farther between. They will lose their grip on you. They will no longer have the power to dictate your emotions or your actions. You will become impervious to their attempts to provoke you, to bait you, to drag you back into their web. In time, you will realize that this silence is not something to be feared or avoided. It is something to be cherished. It is the space where you can finally hear your own voice, where you can finally decide who you want to be without interference from anyone else. It is the space where your power resides, where your freedom begins, and where your true life will unfold. You will begin to dream again, to hope again, to believe in the possibilities that lie ahead. And as you continue down this path, you will see how much stronger you have become. You will look back at the person you once were, the one who was caught in the cycle of emotional abuse, the one who believed they were powerless, and you will marvel at how far you've come. You will realize that the moment you stopped responding, you didn't just stop engaging with them. You stopped engaging with your own fear, your own self-doubt, and your own belief that you were broken. You stopped believing the lie that you were less than, that you were unworthy, and that you had to prove yourself to anyone. Now, you will know that you are worthy simply because you exist. You are worthy because you have the strength to walk away from what no longer serves you. You are worthy because you have the courage to choose silence over the chaos that once ruled your life. You are worthy because you have learned to love yourself, to honor yourself, and to protect yourself at all costs. The silence, once so foreign and uncomfortable, will become your greatest ally. It will be your shield, your strength, and your guide as you move forward into a life that is yours to create. It will be the source of your power, the key to your freedom, and the foundation on which you will build the life you deserve. You will never again allow someone else's words, their manipulation, or their abuse to define who you are. You will never again allow anyone to take what is rightfully yours, the peace, the respect, and the love that you deserve. And in the end, as you continue to stand firm in your silence, as you continue to choose your own peace over their chaos, you will understand that this silence was never just about avoiding conflict. It was about reclaiming your life, your power, and your freedom. And that is something no one can ever take away from you. This silence, this strength, this freedom, it is yours, and it will change your life forever. In the end, your silence will prove to be your greatest strength. It is not just the absence of noise, but the presence of your power, your peace, and your freedom. By refusing to engage in the cycle of emotional abuse, you have reclaimed your life, your worth, and your identity. The chaos no longer controls you. You now stand in your own truth, stronger and more whole than ever before. This silence is your victory, the foundation of a future where you are free to live, love, and be yourself without apology. And that, in itself, will change your life forever.